Hi everyone, how are you doing? Last week I uploaded the first part of my Rain Man reaction / commentary. It turned out to be too long for one video, so I've split it into parts. Part 1 is linked in the description and this is part 2. Let's continue watching. Just a disclaimer that this video contains a lot of spoilers, so if you haven't seen Rain Man and you're planning to watch the movie first, then come back and watch part 1 of this video.
Dr. Bruin is Charlie Babbitt.
Where are you, son?
It's not important. What matters is who I'm with.
You have to bring him back, Mr. Babbitt. Do you understand me?
There's no problem whatsoever. It'll be $1.5 million. I'm not greedy. I just want my half. Raymond, don't.
So we can see right here that Charlie is trying to use his brother as a bargaining tool to get $1.5 million, which he thinks is his fair share of his father's estate. That tells us what kind of person Charlie Babbitt is at this point in the movie. He doesn't have a whole lot of concern for his brother, but, he just wants his share of the money.
Another check. Sorry about the toothpicks.
82.
82 what, Ray? How much is this?
Toothpicks.
It's a lot more than 82 toothpicks, Ray.
Of course, 246 total.
The change. Ray, how many toothpicks are in there?
250.
Pretty close. Come on, let's go, Ray.
246.
There's 4 left in the box.
So he takes one look at a bunch of toothpicks that have been dropped on the floor, and he can instantly tell how many there are. That's next level skill. Is it realistic? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure some people might be able to do that. Certainly not a skill I've ever encountered, but that's not to say it's not real. Some people might be able to actually do that.
97X, the future of rock and roll.
97X. Bam! The future of rock and roll. 97X. Bam! The future of rock and roll.
Raymond is displaying something called echolalia, which is where an autistic person will repeat a word or a phrase that they hear over and over and over without proper context. So it's like they're just repeating that word or phrase because they like the sound of it. It's somehow soothing to them. They don't know the meaning of it. They don't care about the meaning. They don't care about the context. It's just pure echoing.
Well, you look disturbed.
I wonder why. What the hell are you wearing?
Do you like my fashion style?
Listen, I love you, but please leave. That was not part of the movie.
Yeah, flying's very dangerous. 1987, there were 30 airline accidents, 211 were fatalities, and 231 were definite passengers.
Yeah, well, this plane is very safe, believe me. Now, I gotta get to LA and I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, I
Ray?
don't know. I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
What,
I
is
don't
it this
know.
airline?
Yeah.
Is it this airline?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We can, there's an American plane.
American Flight 625 crashed April 27th, 1976.
We don't have to take American. There's a lot of flights.
Yeah, pick another airline.
Continental. We'll take the
Continental
Come on.
crashed November 15, 1987.
So we're seeing an impressive display of memory. He knows all of the stats, all of the incidents, when the crashes happened, how many casualties there were, what airlines were involved. He has this encyclopedic knowledge because he clearly has one of those memories where he hears or sees something once and then it's committed to his memory. Man, I wish I had a memory like that. But of course, the problem with having a memory like this is that it can create a lot of anxiety because no matter what you do, you are instantly aware of all of the risks and all of the bad things that have happened. So I can see how this would be a problem for him.
Have crashed at one time or another. That doesn't mean that they are not safe.
Qantas.
Qantas?
Qantas never crashed.
Qantas?
Never crashed.
You can see how Raymond is kind of rocking back and forth like that. That's an example of stimming. A lot of autistic people, I do that myself a lot. I'll kind of be sitting and I'll be, doing this, and it's just soothing somehow. Can't really explain it. You also see how Raymond kind of holds his hand up to his ear while Charlie is yelling. A lot of autistic people have hypersensitivity in one or more of their senses. So what most people would interpret as a raising of the voice could be physically painful to Raymond's ears. George does that from time to time as well. If he hears a loud noise that he wasn't expecting, he'll just do this because it's a shock to him and it can be physically painful. Same thing with bright lights. It can make the eyes feel as if they are burning.
It's very lovely
Give me a hard
beach.
time. You and I are gonna get on this fucking plane.
Yeah, no.
We're not gonna take the plane. He's okay. He's okay. He's okay. We're not gonna take the
You know, that's hard to watch. You see Raymond pretty much begging Charlie to not make him get on the plane, and Charlie is insisting on it. And then, when Charlie forces the issue, what happens? Raymond has a meltdown. He panics. That is hard. That is really, really hard. In Charlie's defense, at this point, we're still not loving Charlie. But in his defense, as soon as this happens, he instantly changes direction and he instantly adapts and they end up driving. That is something positive that we see in Charlie right from the beginning.
When you're getting further away from Kmart,
You don't have to go to Cincinnati to get a pair of underwear at Kmart.
you have to go to Kmart, 400 Oak Street.
But I tell you, Ray, we are not going to Cincinnati, and that's
Get
final.
my boxer shorts at Kmart.
Raymond, that is final. Did you hear
I'm
me?
going to be shortless.
Mom! What difference does it make? What difference does it make where you buy underwear? What difference does it make? Underwear is underwear. It is underwear wherever you buy it. In Cincinnati or wherever.
So Raymond needs underwear. I guess when he left the facility that he's living at, there wasn't time for him to pack any stuff. So he didn't have any stuff with him, and now he doesn't have any underwear. And Raymond is stuck on this idea that he has to buy his boxer shorts in a specific store, which they are hundreds of miles away from at this point. And Charlie has just had enough. And you know what? We all get to that point. We're all human. And I think this is something that's important to remember. We are all human and we all just have those days where our patience just runs out and we just cannot do this anymore. So, I guess good for Charlie for pulling over and, having a bit of a vent.
We have to buy them at Kmart, Oak and Burnett. We have to buy them back. Uh-oh. Put your shorts on the highway.
I just love how Raymond tosses the underwear overboard. A lot of autistic people suffer from something called context blindness. What that means is that most of us take our cues from the situation around us. So if we see a sign that says walk and then the sign changes to don't walk, most people can tell from the context, you're crossing the road, you don't stop in the middle of crossing the road. But a lot of autistic people don't have that. They cannot read what they're supposed to do from the context. They only see what is right in front of them. So Raymond just sees the sign that says walk while he's walking. And when that sign changes to don't walk, he just stops because he's just following directions. Bear in mind that Raymond has been living in this residential facility for a long, long time. He hasn't encountered situations like this. He has not had the opportunity to learn from this particular context. So I can totally see this happening to someone in his situation. As the movie goes on, we do see Charlie developing a better sense of when he can leave Raymond unattended and when he shouldn't.
I may not have his age exactly right or the years, but I'm more or less familiar with the history of the United States. And I love to tell a story
He's
of the
artistic?
Pony Express.
No, he's
And it
autistic.
was initiated.
I'm not familiar with that. What is the exact nature of the
St.
problem?
Joe's, Missouri.
He lives in a world of his own.
And the purpose
I'm
of it
sorry,
was to
but what's
speed up
wrong
the
with
movement
him?
of mail.
I love this exchange so much. So the nurse is not familiar with autism, which, fair. Back in those days, I think a lot of people weren't familiar with autism. The awareness of autism that we see today has really just exploded in the last 20, 25 years. And, she says, what's the issue here? And Charlie says, well, he lives in a world of his own. Fairly accurate description of autism in a nutshell. And then the nurse is like, okay, but what's wrong with him? Fair question. So in recent years, we have been pathologizing autism a lot less than we used to. And this nurse was on it right from the get-go. So good for her.
Well, what am I supposed to do? There's got to be something that I can do here.
Well, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I do know that his brain doesn't work like other people. And what he does isn't intended to be annoying. If he's getting on your nerves, you just take a break.
Right on. That's what I was saying. If it's getting too much for you, just take a bit of a time out, remove yourself from the situation, make sure the person is in a safe place where they cannot hurt themselves or someone else. And just, take a moment to just decompress and breathe. This doctor's spot on. That's what we all have to do. And that's not even specific to taking care of someone who's autistic. That's just a day in the life of parenting. Sometimes we have to do that with all of our kids.
Ray. Raymond.
Yeah?
Are you good with numbers?
Yeah.
I read about this. I want to try something here.
Kmart, 400 Oak Street.
What'd I tell you after this, Ray? After this.
Ray, can we try something?
Yeah.
Do you know how much 312 times 123 is?
38376.
He's right.
What?
He's right.
He's right?
Yeah. Ray, how much is 4,343 times 1,234?
5359262.
He's a genius.
He's right.
He's a genius.
Ray, do you know how much the square root of 2,130 is?
46.15192304. 2304.
That's amazing. I mean, that is amazing. He should work for NASA or something like that.
If you had $1 and you spent 50 cents, how much money would you have left?
About 70.
70 cents?
70 cents.
So much for the NASA idea.
Kmart. You should go to
What
Kmart.
did I tell you after this, Ray?
Ray,
After this.
400 Oak Street.
Ray, do you know how much a candy bar costs?
About $100.
$100, huh?
Yeah,
You know how much one of those new compact cars cost?
about $100.
We see this a lot with autistic people. Mathematical geniuses, but they don't know how to apply it to real life. When George was very little, he started multiplying 2-digit numbers in his head before he even started learning about multiplication in school. It's just something I don't know how he learned to do it. He just kind of started doing it. And only very recently, for the last, maybe 2 years or so, he has a concept of what changes and how much change he should get. And even that is still a struggle. So, the computation is there and he's very good at it. But the application to the real world is the piece that is, not so great. And that's what we're seeing here with Raymond as well. It's, quite common.
Of course, we're never going back. It's going to be definitely going to be a long journey.
It's just a couple of more days, Ray.
Yeah. You know the fellow's name? Yeah, then who's playing first? The fellow playing first base for St. Louis.
Let's start with this again, Ray. It's just another motel. You got to do this every time?
The first baseman. That's the man's name. That's whose name. What do you ask me? I'm not asking you. I'm telling you who's on first. I'm asking you who's on first.
Ray.
That's the man's name.
Ray,
That's
this is not...
name. Yeah.
It's not a riddle.
Yeah. You know the fellow's name? Yeah. Who's playing first
Yeah, I
base?
mean, you're never going to figure out who's on first base, because who is on first base?
So Charlie is kind of missing the point of this, and it's not his fault. He can't be expected to understand this. Raymond is just self-soothing. That's all he's doing. He's doing this because he's anxious. He's in another new place. He thinks he's gone from his home forever, and all he's doing is trying to calm himself. Charlie is indirectly trying to stop this behavior. And, you know, when an autistic person is stimming, they're stimming for a reason. Unless it is causing harm to themselves or to someone else, just let them do it. It does not do any harm, and in fact, it is helpful to the autistic person. A lot of autism treatments in the past focused on reducing or eliminating stimming behavior. We don't want to do that. That has been recognized as incredibly harmful. As long as it is not creating a dangerous situation, just let them stim, because they need it. They're doing it for a reason. And that's it for part 2. There is one more installment of this, which will be uploaded next week. If you want to be sure not to miss it, subscribe and hit the bell. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, live your best life and be kind. Bye.